Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And yesterday we did the showcase for the new Awakened Isis on the Antagonist team, and it is time to finish that team with the Mir Benimaru Kokuyo Kyokyo, as I'm about to call him for the rest of this video, so get used to it. And he's okay. I'm not a super big fan of him, but we'll give him his fair due. He is magic, he is dark, he uses a fist, he's on Antagonist Warrior's Mind and Ogre's Pride. He is an EX Unbound character, so he has the extra EX boards, and he's got a support alt just like Isis does, where Antagonist allies get 25 or up to 60% extra weakness strike that's permanent when you alt with him. He's a single target alt, though. Or no, he's an AoE, and Isis is a single target. So he has 150% multiplier versus Isis and her 250, both of which are terrible, but they're not meant to do damage, they're meant to support the rest of the team, and if you do an EX, the 25% or whatever percentage you have him at is going to double, so he would go up to 50%. His first skill is a 40% magic buff, and for the first 5 turns, it also gets an 80% weakness strike buff. For 50 points, it's okay. It's not as good as Visions of Coleus Violet and her 100% buff, but that is also 30 skill points more expensive, and in Jubilee gets going on right now, it gets sealed. So it's not a huge drop-off between Violet's skill and his skill, but it is still a drop-off, and after 5 turns, it's really going to drop off, because it's only going to be the 40% magic at that point. His second skill gives the Vitalization effect, which is 25% free alt gauge for 3 turns when your turn is over, or when the enemy's turn is over. So if you pop him and the enemy's turn is over, so turn 2, 3, and 4, you're going to get 75% total alt gauge from this skill. And he gives oranges an extra 15% damage for 3 turns, which I guess is just a cherry on top of the cake. His true unbound status is still within 3 to 5 turns because he's a speed-focused unit, so he gets extra weak point and super weak point damage during this time span. His Valor trait seals magic skills, which is useful in Valor Cup, and his actual trait, if you have dupes for him, if you send 6 oranges, you get 10% extra pierce power, which I'm not a super big fan of that. He's okay, but I do think he is probably the weakest character to come out of the Antagonist meta, but let's try him out. Alright, Antagonist team, we've got Kyokyo, we've got the new Isis, Rimuru, second anniversary Hinata, and then Shinsha with Emils, so this is roughly the team that you're meant to run. Free-to-play Cliche could be here if you don't have either Rimuru or Hinata or whatever, but these two were given, well, you got 11 free multis for them, so if you got really lucky, hopefully you pulled them. If not, then I'm sorry. You'll have other chances with other tickets, but he should support this team fairly well. I just don't understand why he's giving extra alt gauge on a team that runs oranges and rainbows, but, maybe I'm missing something. Okay, so turn 1, we'll bring Isis in for Kyokyo. We've got the 36 points. We'll bring Shinsha in for Kyokyo. Isis is going to remain up front. We'll use the orb change, and then we'll bring in Hinata for Rimuru, since she's got protection trait underneath her. And turn 2, we will use the Vitalization skills to give us the extra alt gauge. So if we don't get a lot of Shinsha orbs, maybe it will help us get the EX alt by turn 3. Let's see what we get here. Okay, we got 2 orbs. So yeah, I think this should actually help us get the get her EX alt. 25% though isn't a super huge amount initially, but it could make a difference. So let's do the Future Hand of Oranges skill, and then we'll take her out for Kyokyo. So there we go. So this is a buff placed on yourself. It's different than the Enamor effect that Elmesia has, or the free-to-play Sufia Orb Changer, or Space Shinsha, or Space Shion from Valentine's Day of 2023. That is a buff placed on the enemy, so they can work in tandem if you want them to. So if you combine one Enamor skill plus Evil Benimaru's Vitalization, you can get 40% alt gauge at the end of every turn for multiple turns. So this should cover this last 25% right here. Let's see if it actually does, though. Okay, there we go. So we did see use of that. We were not going to get the EX alt, but now we do have it. So let's go ahead and use his buff now, and we'll send Shinsha away, and we'll be ready to nuke with her on a following turn. So let's do this. Let's do the Drago buff as well, so we could put it on Shinsha. We'll send the EX ult with Isis, so we can get that extra weakness strike buff. And then I think we bring in... Yeah, I think we bring in Hinata for Kokuyo. Do we have enough points to do this? Yes, so perfect. So buff right there, boom. Now Shinsha's looking really good. We'll get her out, and then we will send this ult with Isis. We'll get the extra 50% weakness strike, and we'll get a full hand of oranges, and we can save the rainbow ult swap for next turn. So we'll send this over here. She should do pretty good damage, because she's got a few buffs going on now. 239, okay, well, she should do decent damage for someone with a 250% multiplier, whereas the new Milim is getting up to like 600. Details, am I right? So the Visolation is still active on Isis, so we're going to get a little bit extra ult gauge here, boom, excellent. And then let's do the rainbow ult swap, and we'll use the mills here. So we're going to have 3 rainbow orbs. So I think that should get us... Alright, I got to turn that off after... that should get us the ult. But let's actually bring Kokuyo in for Hinata. That way we can get his ult, and probably his EX ult if these 3 orbs don't do it. And then we can use him as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, yeah, we're just a little bit shy. So the fact that he still has the Vitalization active will cover that last little bit, and it'll give him his EX ult, which will help Shinsha do another 50% extra weakness strike, on top of the 50 that Isis gave her on the nuke last time. And we actually have another use of her as well, so we could get, what, 125% extra weakness strike here? That's going to be fairly decent. Except... Rimuru, did we use his buff already? We did not. Okay, well, we might miss out on the... I should have swapped Rimuru, or I should have swapped Benimaru in for Rimuru instead. Okay, not a huge deal. We're just gonna miss out on the Isis 50 or 25% because we're not gonna ult with her. We're gonna use her debuff, boom, and then she's gonna go away for Shinsha. Not a big deal. We already have the Drago effect active on Shinsha, so we're not going to miss that at all. And then we do the 55-point buff and the 50-point buff here. Everything else is active. And I don't think Evil Benny is going to kill because he's an AoE. I don't know if he's got it in him. If he does, well, then we'll just have to make a cut and come back. But I do want the extra 50% weakness strike that he's going to give Shinsha. So she's going to look fairly good with the Drago effect kicking in, plus we've got the magic attack, which is now 48% from the Drago, and then the 80% weakness is now 96%. So I feel like we should be okay here, and we'll send these two. And his ult, I think, is okay. I think both him and the Isis ults are just kind of okay. Shinsha's ult looks good for not an anniversary character. Okay, well, he killed 2 of them. But at least Gobta lived, so we can see the full power of Shinsha right here. He did like 300,000 for an EX ult, for an EX Unbound unit. Sure, whatever. His multiplier is terrible, and he didn't have every single buff active either. But Shinsha here does 8.6 million damage. Ooh. That's quite a bit. And because he ulted first, Shinsha got another 50% weakness strike. So Kokuyo gave her 100% in that run, on top of the 96% he was giving off of his actual skill. So he does have value, but that weakness strike is only good for antagonist units. So if we put him on a team that has none of them, it doesn't matter what you do with his EX ult. It's not going to buff anybody. Alright, let's see both the Vitalization of Benimaru and the Enamor effect in play from Elmesia. We're going to go into the beatdown, or not beatdown, but Tempered Edge versus Leon and Velzard, who do not have a lot of HP, so we don't need this much power. But we're going to use Almizia to nuke with her ult up and ult resistance down, Benimaru with his magic buff and weakness strike, and then the AoE and ult damage that's permanent from Lumi. And then we've got the free-to-play converters, Aaron and Isis for the green buff. And then Velzard's going to give us the element buff plus the Drago effect, so all of Benimaru's buffs are going to be slightly enhanced off of that too. Alright, so turn 1 we will use the Aaron convert, and pretty much we never have to use them again. We never have to use her again, because we're going to have the Velzard active with the green buff from Isis, so it's going to be pretty good here. And then we'll send these orbs over here on Velzard first. We could take a fair bit of damage from Leon ulting us over and over and over again. We're going to probably be able to kill... I don't know if we'll have enough to use every single buff on this team, but okay, well... Yeah, let's see the Vitalization and the Enamor effect in action to get Almizia and ult, because she has no orbs. This is... I mean, this worked out as well as it could have been, right? So let's put the Enamor effect on Leon. Boom. So that's 15% for 2 turns at the end of the turn. And then the Vitalization goes on us. So this is 25%, this is 15% up here. So we're going to get 40% ult, and wow, she's low on HP because of the skill. Don't worry about it. Okay, and let's do the AoE and the ult buff, and then we'll take Kokuyo out for Isis, and we'll use the green buff, and then we'll get a lot of gauge here. A lot of gauge. So... the reason why I took Kokuyo out is because his ult means pretty much nothing to this team. Almizia, being the nuking character that we're trying to prioritize, is not on Antagonist, so she would not benefit off of the 25 or 50% weakness strike that Benimaru is giving on his ult. But what we can see here is, alright, after this hit, after that hit, cool, thank you, after this ult, we're going to get a lot of ult gauge here. So Enamor kicks in, Vitalization kicks in again, so even though we didn't do anything with Almizia last turn, and we're still not really going to do a lot here with her, we can still get an ult for her. And now we're going to put the Enamor effect on Velzard, so now that's 15 and 15 plus 25 for the next turn, while this one almost wears off. So let's do another AoE, let's do another ult buff, and then we can get both of them out of here. And we'll bring in Kokuyo, and we'll bring in Aaron. And they don't have ult, so we can send a full hand of greens. And of course, we don't get a single extra Almizia orb. So yeah, the game is really letting me show off that the combination of Vitalization and Enamor. All right, let's turn this animation off. We saw his ult already, so we don't need to see every single animation now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so yeah, there's her ult. We're going to get 55% ult gauge now, which would have gotten us an EX ult had we had more than one goddamn orb for Almizia. Oh well, it is what it is. She's going to be able to kill regardless. So we'll take this ult. Alright, yep, thank you. Can I have another? Alright, the Enamor kicks in, the Vitalization kicks in, and yeah, one more orb for her would have gotten that done. But you could see that it can be useful in certain scenarios where you're not getting a lot of orbs for your nuking character. Well, don't really have that problem anymore. Alright, let's use the 80-point ult up and ult down, and then the magic attack and the weakness strike buff. And Almizia is going to do way too much damage here for this stage to deal with, but it should be pretty funny. And now the Drago effect is going to enhance it, just like it did when we were using Isis in the last fight. So now we got an extra weakness strike for the Barrier Stone. 12% attack from the Barrier Stone as well. Okay, someone's been popping these left and right. We've got AoE 24% from the 2 stacks of Lumi. And we've got... Oh yeah, that would do that, wouldn't it? The Drago would increase my HP cap. Am I just now noticing that? Okay, that's not the point. 48% magic attack, 96% weakness strike, and Almizia is going to do, again, way too much damage. So, we can watch her. She's a hot elf. Why not? Even though the ult is kind of... do I want to say the ult is lame? She's just she's just pegging someone essentially with giant stones, and she's calling it Gaia Crusher. 686. It's not super great damage, but it's not an EX ult for one. Otherwise, it would have been 1.2, which would be nice. But also, they only have like 150k HP or something, so plenty of damage. And we got a lot of support out of both of Kokuyo's skills in this fight, because yeah, we just did not get Almesia orbs, but it didn't matter because we had the Enamor and the Vitalization working together. Alright, and just for funsies, we're going to go into the Fire Tempered Edge stage using the Idolmaster Pretty Sparkle team, where he is still going to be useful, where Magic Buff will stack on top of the Magic Buff we're getting for Rimuru, and the Weakness Strike will stack on top of the Weakness Strike we're getting from Shizuka, and we're going to have Idol Shuna be our nuking character today. Well, not in this stage, I'll have to rebuild it, but you get what I'm going for. Just, we're going to be invincible. We've got Benimaru for the turn 1 burn, so Clayman doesn't bind and poison us, which the poison wouldn't really matter because we're going to be invincible. So let's just go ahead and get this started. Alright, so Benimaru Orb Change, turn 1 puts the burn on, so we don't have to worry about the other Clayman shenanigans. And then we'll bring in our our Idolmaster team. Kokuyo is not going to have really that much to do here. Not worried about our Earth character or a Water character taking damage here, because we will be invincible. We don't have a green buffing character, but I honestly don't think we're going to need to go that far where we're in danger of not having anything. Okay, well, I mean, that works too, I guess. I mean, we're going to change it, but let's go... let's go the feature hand and live mode, and then we'll convert with Rimuru here, and then we don't have to worry about it next turn, and then we'll be invincible on turn 4, and then hopefully 5 at that point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we're gonna get 12% attack here, 12% magic attack from using Rimuru. Alright, yep, thank you for that. And oh man, thank you for that too. 12,000 damage already. We're looking good. We are looking good. And the burn kicks in, because we are hitting with technically a fire character here. Alright. Shuna has an ult, so that's cool. Let's ult swap it away. And then let's use the live mode and weakness strike for Shizuka. And that's about all I can do. So we're just going to leave this hand and run it. We only have one Shizuka or Shuna orb, which is kind of unfortunate. We'll have to alt swap again next turn as well. 10,000 damage, and then Shuna does 22, 23, 32. All right, much higher. All right, Earth resistance down. We have a crit nerf, but this is not a crit team, so not really that big of a deal. We'll get Shizuka out. And oh yeah, look at all this not orbs for Shuna. So we're actually going to get some use out of the Vitalization skill. And we'll live mode it. And we will ult swap. Boom, boom, boom. Benimaru Kokuyo will not be invincible, but that shouldn't be an issue because we're just going to kill him next turn with Shuna, who should get her EX ult off of this one orb here and then the Vitalization. Yeah. So, we've actually seen quite a bit of use for that skill, even though I'm not truly a big fan of it when I first started this video. Okay, that kind of is unfortunate. He's not invincible. Please don't hit him again. Or at least do an AoE. Okay, well that's funny. And, okay, AoE is fine, cool. And that should kick in, and... Oh, wait, we're... Did we not get it? Hold on. Hold on. Okay, well, I've discovered a bug, so looking back at the recording, we definitely should have worked, because we apply the Vitalization effect. It's this purple icon right here. And once we apply the invincibility to Mirai and Shuna, it's going to affect the vitalization. So this one orb got us to this point right here, and it should then kick in where we get the 25%. But if we watch Kyoko's alt gauge versus Shuna's alt gauge, his goes up because he is not under the invincibility mechanic, while these two are. So right here, and after this attack, boom, he gets the alt gauge. These two, well, you can't really tell with Mariah, but Shuna straight up does not get any alt gauge. So, okay, well, fun little bug there. I reported it in the main Discord already, so hopefully that gets looked at and taken care of. I also posted it on Twitter and tagged the game developers, so, but it's also, you know, the weekend. So I don't know if they're actually going to see it. But we have come back. We're in a much better turn now. And will this actually get us the EX ult or close to? No. We're not going to be invincible this turn, so we're not going to worry about this now. We'll swap her out. We don't have the points for that, so okay, well that's kind of unfortunate. Let's just send this. We could use Rimuru here, but I decided not to. So next turn, hopefully we can use the Vitalization if we don't get any orbs for Shuna, which, okay, we do get a lot of orbs first, so we don't need to worry about this then. So on turn 5, we'll swap him out again, and we won't worry about it. So you go away, because we can't use you anyways, because you're bugged, if we apply this specific skill. That's 70 points. Yeah, let's do that. Why not? Shuna should be much capable of doing this. So next turn, we'll do her buff, we'll do the Kyokyo buff, and we'll call that a showcase. So apart, well, maybe we won't, because we don't have enough points. We might have to go another turn without it. Yeah, we're not running Isis or we're not running Veldora, so we're not getting a green gauge buff at all. But we are invincible, so I mean, that's cool. Yeah, we don't have enough to do that. So one more turn of sending... We only need 90 points, right? No, we need 95 points. Alright, let's just do this and stay invincible. The 4 greens will get us there, and then we can nuke. So I guess we can start the outro now. Besides his weird little bug that we just found, he's okay. Like, he's very much better for like newer players that don't have a lot of team building options. But as you progress in the game and you get stronger and stronger units, I think he will begin to fall off just a bit. But he is still a very capable option. I just kind of wish he was a little bit stronger. Being a brand new rarity character, he doesn't bring too much extra additional power, especially if you're not on an antagonist team. So I don't know if I would call him completely and utterly broken or worthy of being a second anniversary unit. 490k is not a lot, but whatever. But he certainly fills a gap for newer players, and you know, they gave away 11 free multis for him, so maybe, hopefully you pulled him, and he will help you out a lot in the early game, and then maybe not as much as you progress through. But that's the showcase for him. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Am I being a bit too harsh on him? Or do you think I'm just right? Or do you think he's a lot, you know, do you also think he's kind of not great? Let me know, but that's it from me. Take it easy, guys, and I'll see you all later.